It doesn't tell you about the meaning making, the sense making, the lived experience, the sensations, which is what I said to her, really.
So you talked about connection before correction. What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so a few things. So that's obviously very much a DDP, Dan Hughes concept that I live by. I use it huge amounts. But in essence, to me, and he might say similar or different, I don't know, but to me, that's really connecting with the person and their emotions and their feelings and validating and accepting them before you go on to the correcting bit. And what that looks like in reality is, for example, when she was screaming and shouting and swearing at me, rather than me saying, don't you do that, don't you speak to me like that, I'm going to call the police.
Right.
And at some points it felt quite overwhelming and scary. And she had been in prison a few times and there was a real risk factor. I would say things to her like, I cannot imagine what it must feel like and how frustrating it must be to be in the room and have someone here who you think is judging you and What you're saying is so important and I really want to hear you and I really want to listen to you. But to do that, I just need you to speak to me. It's that just really just connecting with that person before you go on to give them perhaps a different way of thinking.
And how did she respond to that?
So interestingly, generally she responded pretty well. So okay, she would swear a little bit more, but I would sort of bring a bit of humour in, or I'd say something to her like, yeah, if I was in your position, I'd also feel really pissed off. And I'm really glad that you're showing me that. Right. Yeah, let's work. That's great. I would be worried if you weren't skeptical of me and if you weren't mistrusting of me. And that's how you've kept yourself safe. And I'm really glad you kept yourself safe because that's why you're here today. And she started to get that fairly quickly. I use loads of metaphors in my work. Lots of puppets and lots of masks and lots of actual metaphors. And she had a very naturally poetic mind. And I think we really connected on that level as well. So sometimes I'd talk about how she'd go into shark attack mode because she'd been in shark infested waters her whole life and she'd learnt to become the shark. And she loved that and that really resonated. And so very quickly we started to sort of learn that, and then she would take something and play on it about the boat or the ship, and then I'd ask her about the storm. So we sort of found this language quite